Welcome, everyone, to Catholic Sunday Scriptures in Context. This is a ministry of the Augustinian Order and St. Paul Parish. Today we are focusing on the 17th Sunday in Ordinary Time, July 29, 30, 2023. Our first reading today comes from the first book of Kings, and this is the story of Solomon, who was the son of David. Both David and Solomon each ruled for 40 years, and so the two of them had this long period where the kingdom of Israel reached its height. It was truly, at that time, one of the largest empires in the world. But right after Solomon's death, his son was a horrible administrator, and 10 of the tribes broke away and became the northern kingdom of Israel, and 2 of the tribes became the kingdom of Judah. And we believe that this story was probably written after Solomon's death because they missed his wisdom and his ability to judge and to take care of the people. And there was a humility about Solomon that his son did not possess. And the story basically says Solomon knows what is important and of value. It wasn't wealth, it was wisdom. The Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream at night. God said, "Ask something of me, and I will give it to you." Solomon answered, "O Lord my God, you have made me your servant, king to succeed my father David. But I am a mere youth, not knowing at all how to act. I serve you in the midst of the people whom you have chosen, a people so vast that it cannot be numbered or counted. Give your servant, therefore, an understanding heart to judge your people and distinguish right from wrong. For who is able to govern this vast people of yours?" The Lord was pleased that Solomon made this request. So God said to him, "Because you have asked for this, not for a long life for yourself, nor for riches, nor for the life of your enemies, but for understanding so that you may know what is right, I do as you requested. I give you a heart so wise and understanding that there has never been anyone like you up to now, and after you there will come no one to equal you." Our second reading comes from Paul's letter to the Romans as we continue that. And Paul is in the midst of discussing sin. And at this time, the Christians believed, the Jewish people believed too, that God made everything and God made evil as well. And so Christians are questioning, how can there be evil after the resurrection? And Paul's response is that things will work out, that God can take evil and make good come from it. God's good may be different than man's good. You may not see it, but it will be. Later on, philosophers in the Middle Ages realized that evil is the absence of good, that everything God made was good, but because it couldn't be perfect, therefore it was necessary that there be evil. Evil is where the difference between good and perfect exists. But that wasn't known to St. Paul as he's writing this letter. Brothers and sisters, we know that all things work for good for those who love God, who are called according to his purpose. For those he foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his Son, so that he might be the firstborn among many brothers and sisters. And those he predestined, he also called. And those he called, he also justified. And those he justified, he also glorified. And our gospel today comes from Matthew chapter 13. And Jesus is continuing trying to explain what the kingdom of heaven is like. Kingdom of the heavens. Matthew always uses the plural in Greek. And so the previous similes from the last 2 weeks were from agriculture and from the household, and they gave the sense that the kingdom is gradual. There was also the simile of the wheat and the weeds. Here, the first two about the pearl and the treasure buried in the field are about what is important and value. And then Jesus throws in the about the net, which reminds us of the wheat and the weeds. Jesus said to his disciples, "The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure buried in a field, which a person finds and hides again, and out of joy comes and sells all that he has and buys that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant searching for fine pearls. When he finds a pearl of great price, he goes and sells all that he has and buys it. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a net thrown into the sea, which collects fish of every kind. When it is full, they haul it ashore and sit down to put what is good into buckets. What is bad, they throw away. Thus it will be at the end of the age. The angels will go out and separate the wicked from the righteous and throw them into the fiery furnace, where there will be wailing and grinding of teeth." "Do you understand all these things?" They answered, "Yes." And he replied, "Then every scribe who has been instructed in the kingdom of heaven is like the head of a household, who brings from his storeroom both the new and the old." One last point is probably in Matthew's community, which was a Jewish community, there were those who denied that Christ was the Messiah. And some of these similes seem to address that issue, that tension that may have existed in the Matthean community. Please pray for peace in Ukraine, and if you think this would be helpful to someone, please pass it on. Thank you very much.